I've been told by certain people in my family I'm not capable of planning, and I think it's true. So what I do is I have my iPhone with me at all times, and I photograph any images, usually architectural sort of tidbits, that I see that I find interesting in some way. And so I have a whole library of those. And for the project that I've been working on, the series that I've been working on, they are all squares, and they vary in size from 10 by 10 to 72 by 72. And so what I'll do is I'll go through my library of images and just pull some out, and I usually crop them and mess with them. And then I'll have an array of painting surfaces prepared, and I just sort of plunge in and start working. Well, I always prep my panels first. That's a kind of a lengthy procedure. I use a sealer, usually polymer medium, golden polymer medium, that I put a couple coats on my panel. That seals them and keeps them from getting SID, which is surface-induced discoloration, which is impurities in the wood and in the environment that can affect eventually the paint. Then I put on 2 or 3 coats of gesso, let that dry, and then I use light molding paste. At least that's what I've been doing recently, which is a kind of a fluffy paste material that I spread on with a big palette knife. And I allow there to be some texture in that. It's a very absorbent ground, and so when it dries, my next step is to add washes to the panel. I choose 3 or 4 colors that sort of relate to the reference photograph. Usually when I'm doing this, I'm doing it with a certain amount of method to my madness because I'm working from a photograph, but in this case I'm just ad-libbing this. So I let it dry, and it's really fun because it's very unpredictable, and I like the idea of chance happening when I'm painting, because it forces me to problem solve, and I love to problem solve. So once the initial wash is done, usually what I do is I tape out the large shapes, and I mix up a bunch of colors. I use cups to mix the colors with light molding paste, and I have a kind of not exactly a formula, but a bunch of different mediums that I use to mix together with the color. And those extend the color, and they also give it a texture if I want it to. This is a painting in progress, and I'm not liking some of the things that are going on, although I am liking some. This to me is starting to work. It's obviously a building, the side of a building with a bunch of windows, and I want to make it less obviously that. And I think make this one shape here. I've gradually switched over to palette knives. I think it's mostly because I use really thick paint. This is paint that's mixed with light molding paste and heavy gel matte. And so it's really thick, and it's hard to use a brush on it. Let's see what I got, including some leakage over here. I'm funny about hard edges. A lot of people that do hard edge paintings are really strict about having these real rigid hard edges, and I'm not really all that concerned about them being perfect. In fact, I kind of like it when they're off, and sometimes I work to juxtapose some of the really clean edges with others that are pretty rough and not perfect, because I think it's interesting that way. When I'm painting, I don't think I think. And that's a question I've been asked just recently, and it's something I never really gave any thought to. Usually when I'm painting, I'm playing music pretty loud, and if I'm thinking at all, it could be about what the next color is going to be, but I'm not even aware of that really. I'm just sort of immersed in what I'm doing, and I think my mind is just filled with the images in front of me, and my hands are working away, and I'm not really thinking, if that's possible. And you know, the minute I think about trying to think about what it is I'm thinking, I can't, it doesn't work.